For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
The following is an America Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
This is not America. Sha-la-la-la-la. Little piece of you. Little piece of me.
Hello, welcome to Talking Truth to Power, America's Freedom Talk Radio, heard round the world.
And now simulcasted here in the Reno and Northern California area on FM 93.7. So if you're on the AM side of the broadcast, check out our FM signal.
Yes,
93.7.
93.7, yep.
All right, great.
And we're booming out in Fernley, too. We got a repeater out there.
Oh, great. Well, now that I'm caught up with our technological progress.
Well, you've been in the loop eventually.
Yeah. I guess you could tell I'm not the engineer around here. That's Shanimal Lawson. He's behind the boards, and I'm Brendan Trainor. My co-host is, what's your name again?
I forget.
Leland Faegre. So, it's day 49 of Putin's military operation in Ukraine, and the Russians are still not out of gas. I don't know. But the Democrats, they're also not, don't have a full tank, because their strategy is to blame everything on Putin. Gas prices, food and energy inflation, everything that's wrong is due to Putin. Due to Putin's price hike is the way Peppermint Patty put it.
Putin's price pop.
Oh, there's even more alliteration.
I want to go with the alliteration there.
Yeah. Who said pop?
Me.
Okay. Well, the thing is that politicians are very good at making up alliterative three-word phrases to
clever.
Explain away their own policies and decisions that are hurting things. And Americans, fortunately, are not buying it. They realize prices and shortages were rising before the Russian military operation, which didn't start until February 24th. This consumer price index in March is up 8.5%. And we know that
doesn't include food and energy.
Yeah, so, and those are really being hit hard.
I think that was about 20 years ago they started to exclude food and energy out of the CPI.
I wonder why. Don't they want us to have all the information?
Nobody travels or eats. It's just the way it is.
Right now, of course, we have the Putin price hike.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Nancy.
Putin price pop.
She's chiming in.
Yep.
So if it was 8.5%, according to the CPI, it's probably about 15%.
Oh, it's got to be in the low teens somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
we've got hyperinflation. Let's just face
be
up
honest.
to it. Yeah.
Get the wheelbarrows out, because you get paid in the morning, and then you have to get paid again in noon.
It's bullshit.
Remember the Weimar Republic?
Yeah.
But the reason that we are, a lot of the investment community is not concerned about it is because they think that will run its course, you see. And the Fed will not need to tighten. Its quantitative tightening is scheduled to be on course now for, depending upon who you talk to, several months.
Right.
Gradually easing into higher rates. But the money is thinking that because of the higher price inflation built into travel and food, that the economy will slow, making it less likely that the Fed will raise rates.
Okay.
So that's how it faces off. And I'm inclined to believe there'll be some truth to that.
Okay.
We will slow down. We are headed to a recession. There's been discussion of it already. We've been talking about it for months here, but now there's official discussion. So I think the handwriting is on the wall, and we're going to get to some sort of a combination of stagflation.
Yes.
And
it's the 70s all over again.
And the Fed is up against the wall. It really doesn't know how to deal with this. It has only one tool, basically. And,
raising and lowering interest
and
rates.
if they start to raise rates, well, then the economy is going to lose steam.
Right.
So
unless they pull a Volcker and clamp down on the money supply.
Well, but there was a price that was paid for that.
Oh yeah, we had a recession in the early '80s.
We lived through that, so we know that.
At least the government under Reagan was forthright. At least they told you it's going to be painful. Now, some people criticize, say he didn't have to do that. He could have done other things.
The consequences, though, are significant.
Yes.
Not just to the economy, but also politically. So.
Oh yeah, you have to have a certain amount of courage.
And did you see Naomi Wolf on Tucker Carlson the other day?
No, I didn't. I missed her.
Well, she was discussing, it's just sort of the stage we're presented with at the moment, and she believes that the Democrats won't go down easily, that there'll be some sort of an emergency crisis that staves off that result.
Some kind of false flag?
Domestic false flag.
A domestic false flag, yeah.
Right, yeah. And I'm inclined to believe that. They're not going to take this lying down.
No.
Even though they've created it.
Yeah, sure. They can't admit that they've created it.
These people are ruthless. They are not nice people. You would not give them the time of day if you passed them on the street.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't give us the time of day either.
Yeah, but I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I've got a watch. Best to be self-reliant.
Well, and they're blaming it all on Putin, and so we've got the schizophrenic Putin. In some, they're claiming he's omnipotent, that Putin can change a U.S. election by spending $100,000 on social media. He controlled Trump.
He got Trump elected.
Yeah, and then he controlled him. Trump was his puppet.
A lot of people still believe that.
Yes, and nothing happens in Russia Putin doesn't know about. But on the other hand, he's so incompetent, he's wrecking the tiny Russian economy. He can't stop Russia Today from being banned in America. He is losing the war in Ukraine to a comedian who dances half naked in stilettos and plays the piano with his Johnson. Which is true. You can see him on the internet, on YouTube.
Yep.
So this is the same tactics they used against the Soviet Union in the Cold War, when they portrayed communist Russia as both all-powerful and taking over the world and the domino theory, and yet, completely brittle, like a Potemkin village about to collapse. And that's what it really turned out to be, more than all-powerful.
Well, the people at that level of strategy only know one song.
Yeah.
And so they just play
It's the same old song.
Incessantly. That's all they know.
Power. I'm your host, Trainor, my co-host, Leland Faegre. So, the war in Ukraine rages on. Now, Monday was the worst day so far for the Ukrainian army.
The 13th or the 11th, right?
Yes, the 11th. Yes, they had at least 1,100 casualties, killed, wounded, or surrendered. And the biggest event was 2 brigades in Mariupol surrendered. That took care of about 600-800 of them. One tried to break out by painting Z, the letter that, a couple of provinces.
That always works.
Yeah, a couple of provinces in Germany have outlawed the letter Z.
Yeah, I heard that.
So they painted Z on some armored vehicles, tried to drive out, but they were caught. The other brigade that surrendered contained foreign mercenaries. Some of them were Afghanistanis. But there is at least one British-born merc who is well known in the Soldier of Fortune circles. Those guys that buy that magazine and stuff. His name was Kakasgundi. That was his stage name, Kasagundi. And he got a reputation by fighting with the Kurds in Syria for several years. His real name is Aiden Aslan. And
These mercenaries are interesting people, aren't they?
Yeah, I know.
They really are.
But
You want to tell them to get a life, but that is their life.
that is their life. Yeah, his family runs a web page for him, and they're still treating this as a ghost. They're talking about prisoner as a joke. They're talking about prisoner exchanges. You know, Russia is not recognizing these people under the Geneva Convention. The best he's going to face is a tribunal, a trial by tribunal, and some heavy prison time, I think. And this is serious business.
Oh, yeah. There's consequences in war.
There's no more LARPing.
Yeah, right.
And then there's also several videos coming out about remnants in the Steel Center of Ostal, and they're huddled together and waiting for the inevitable, basically. But what's really strange about Avastal is the evacuation attempts by the government to get something or somebody out of there. They sent in a bunch of helicopters. I know several of them have been shot down. I don't know if any of them got through. But and then the other day, I think it was Saturday, there was a small convoy of cargo ships. And then suddenly one of them broke off and started heading for Mariupol. And he said, beacons, beacons, I'm coming for you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that one.
So Russians shelled the ship. Nobody was killed, as far as I know, but they disabled the ship and took it over.
I'm not surprised by that, but I hadn't heard about it. But, Slovakia is considering sending a contingent of MiGs as well to Ukraine. Yeah.
Well,
you remember the 28 29s
Yeah.
that never made it from Poland? And so now Slovakia is stepping up to send MiGs that won't go there, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, they made headlines 2 weeks ago by sending an S-300 Russian air defense system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Russians promptly took it out with a missile.
This has been, nobody, all these so-called experts can never admit, at least on television, how they would get any of these things in there.
I know.
They're watching those lines of travel like a moth to a flame.
And they have the high precision missiles. They took out a bunker with ammunition and other military gear with a hypersonic missile, one of their Kinzhals. And people didn't know that they would use that for a bunker buster, but apparently they did. But what is in Sevastopol? What are they trying to get out? Macron has been on the phone with Putin, and there's a lot of speculation. He even admitted that it was taking time away from his campaign against Marine Le Pen.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be something very Frenchy in there. Maybe a general. There's talk about also retired U.S. High command officers that were doing like some kind of coordination in Ukraine between NGOs and the military or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are even speculating they know too much. And if it comes down to it, the Nazis are going to be ordered to assassinate them. But it's all speculation at this point. But something is in there that they want to get out.
Well, there were planes flying on the Hungarian border a few weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
And the official assumption was that it may have been NATO planes flying
on the border.
On their border, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then the Russian Ministry of Defense claimed they are intercepting calls with several different European languages coming from Sevastopol. So
I think the best they're going to get is javelins and stingers. I think that's as much as they can hope for.
Yeah.
It's a subscription for defeat, but that's what portends their fate, I think.
Yeah, this month we're gonna see now. People think that phase 2 is going to be the cleaning of the Donbass. They're going to encircle. I get different figures. Some commentators say 40,000. Some say up to 100,000 Ukrainian troops in the Donbass. And so they've been gathering all the troops that they're relocating from Kyiv to come down there and help them. And they're freeing up troops now that Mariupol is taken, and they're going up there. So there's like a wedge where the Ukrainians still control. It looks like the letter L, if you notice. If you ever see a map of the occupation, it looks like an L, kind of a upside down L. But that border, that line between the end of the the hook on the L and then down to the main body, that's going to be all encircled. And people, some people like just think that it could be just 1 month that they could do this. They're dug in there, the Ukrainians.
Certainly the area is much smaller.
Yes.
And they can concentrate their battles, and the use of and deployment of weapons there makes it easier for that kind of an outcome. It could be really over in a short amount of time there.
Yeah, and even though they're dug in, they're running out of fuel, ammunition. They can't resupply them. Now
it sounds to me like just any defining moment in any battle we've ever heard about, whether it's Normandy or
right.
Pick your favorite battle. It's just ugly.
But Ukraine is they're refusing to negotiate now. They backed off some of their minor concessions they've already made, and so the war is going to continue. Now they're firing all of these anti-personnel missiles into civilian areas, like the Kramatorsk railway station, which was crowded with refugees, and they were Russians. The Russians' army is trying to evacuate as many civilians as possible, send them to Russia or wherever they want to go, so that they can carry on this operation.
So they were Russian civilians,
yes,
attempting to leave.
Yeah, and it also appears, as far as that Bucha massacre, that many, if not most of them, were Russian, because if you notice, they wear a white armband. If you sympathize with Russia and you don't want to be shot at by Russian troops, you wear a white armband. And these people that were massacred in Bucha, many of them have either white armbands or they were tied behind their back. Their arms were tied with white armbands. Yeah.
So the Azov brigades were fundamentally responsible for the.
Well, it looks that way because of the timeline. I mean, the Russians were out of there on March 30th, and then the massacre wasn't reported until April 4th, and in those 4 days, they had plenty of time to, eliminate those people they considered to be Russian saboteurs or whatever, Russian sympathizers, whatever. I mean, they killed one of their own negotiators.
Well, there's nothing new about that.
I mean, the first day of negotiations, they killed one of the negotiators.
Killing your own is a strategy of war.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so it's another false flag, and immediately, even though we had the missile and we had the serial number on the missile, 9M791 W91579.
You want to repeat that for our listening audience?
Yeah, sure. I'll do it real fast. 91791 W91579. Anyway, it was obviously one of the missiles that it's a Soviet era missile. Russia stopped using it around 2010. So that's primarily what the Ukrainian equipment is Soviet era equipment. And the Donbass militia has been keeping records of the missiles that contain these cluster bombs, because that's what they are. They send shrapnel all over the place. There was 57 civilians killed. And so it's another false flag, and the West is just buying these false flags completely. Colonel McGregor was remarking about the volcanic, he called it, volcanic, virulent hatred for Russia that is being reflected in these Western countries, for no real reason, and hiding the truth and the facts. Well, war is all about propaganda and hiding truth and facts, but anybody that can get online can see the truth. And but we're not being told the truth because, like you said, we're just a pawn in their game.
Yeah.
And so are the people of the rest of the world. But
we're so poorly educated. Let's be honest. That's the problem. We'd rather watch some goofy television program or get on TikTok than understand what the direction of civilization, and that can't turn out well. And you know what else didn't turn out well?
What?
Frank James, the black supremacist that opened up in the subway yesterday. He's been arrested in Manhattan.
Oh.
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900, extension 2. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Bernard Trainor, my co-host, Leland Faegre.
So is it okay to be white?
Well, it's okay to be white unless you're Russian and white. Then it's not okay anymore. Yeah, anyway.
The narrative of racism.
Yes. And was that a black white supremacist that shot up the New York subway?
Turns out, apparently so. Yeah. I noticed that some of the earliest reports yesterday after the incident, there was no description of him.
I know. Oh, there never is.
No, yeah, but in a situation like this where they're looking, they had no cameras.
Yeah.
You know, so he could have been described. So anyway, he was just recent. It's just been announced that he's been found and arrested.
Well, good for the NYPD.
Yeah, because they're not working with a friendly environment there to help them, are they?
No. What about our friend Elon Musk? He's been in the news again this week.
And again today.
Okay. What has he been up to today? I may have missed it.
Well, apparently he's being sued by shareholders. Twitter shareholders are going to sue Musk over the delay in his stock ownership disclosures.
Okay.
It's going nowhere, but you know that's...
No. It's probably a nuisance.
It's just a way to make it difficult for him, yeah.
Yeah, true. Well, anyway, he's been tweeting about his new, company that has majority shareholder in it.
And he's also revealed his Asperger condition, which I didn't know about. Did you?
No. He says he has
apparently
Asperger.
It's Asperger syndrome.
A lot of libertarians have Asperger. I might have it.
Well, it is always a suggestion of intelligence.
Yes.
First and foremost.
Yeah, okay.
So that shouldn't surprise us either.
Well, the richest man in the world, he must have some brains.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been doing these surveys, tongue-in-cheek surveys, asking people about the company. So
yeah,
he's tweeted out, should we delete the W in Twitter? Sure or most certainly. So
I'd like the name changed.
Yes, that would be Titter.
Yeah. Yes. I would definitely like that name changed.
Should we convert the San Francisco headquarters to a homeless shelter since no one comes to work there?
I've heard that he wants to do that. He's serious about that, actually. Yeah.
And, that Robert Reich, he published a really weird article in The Guardian. I don't know what The Guardian guards anymore. They've gone really downhill. But he compared Musk to Putin. He said Musk wants to take over Twitter so he can censor it because dictators like free speech, but rich capitalists don't, I guess. I guess that was his argument.
Well, this is more echo of the desperation on that side of the aisle.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Yeah. Just accuse somebody of being Russian or being a friend of Putin or Putin himself. And so, even Zelensky knows that game. He kidnapped the leader of the most Russian party, Mednensky, if I pronounced his name right, who is a friend of Putin, enough of a friend that Putin is actually his daughter's godfather.
That was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, he just paraded him out.
Oh, I see.
Paraded him out and said he wants to do a prisoner exchange with him.
I think he's a master of media. You can't fault him for that.
No. He's surrounded by the people that worked on his TV show. That's why. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
the writers.
Yes. We've seen that green screen effect where he loses his shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those glitches happen.
They keep using the green screen though. I can tell by the appearance.
They do. Mm-hmm. But at least he appears to have actually been in Kiev because he met Bojo.
Well, when Johnson was there, he was clearly walking around there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Johnson is puffing himself up and trying to be the leader of the free world now. That especially because Biden is
nowhere to be found.
What am I doing here?
Yeah, Biden is missing in action, so Boris is going to fill the vacuum, and he's got the heft to do it, I guess. But
Well, he does. He's
Yeah.
he's articulate, and that's why he's the prime minister there. But he it's double duty for him. He had to come out of Westminster to answer for Biden's disappearance, basically.
but they're still coming after him for the Partygate scandal.
Yeah, they did go after him. Actually, they fined him, didn't they?
Yes.
2 or 3 of them were fined. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's dragged out for so long
Right.
that it's no longer an issue. So
Right.
it'll die tomorrow. So
Yep. But Lukashenko was visiting with Putin in eastern Russia, talking about developing the Arctic, among other things. And they gave a press conference, and Lukashenko says his intelligence says that MI6 was behind the Bucha massacre.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be surprising to me to discover that MI6 was doing the CIA's work inside the Ukraine.
Right.
It would have been much easier for them to accomplish something, some sort of a directive in there. The CIA couldn't have gotten away with that.
No.
So
No.
that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, it sure does. And the thing is, the MI6 is behind a lot of things that have been
With our
going
partners, they're our partner. Yeah.
on. Yeah.
It's our 51st state over there. Or is it our 52nd state? Between Israel
and Britain.
and
yeah.
Britain, between the two of them. Yeah.
Yep. And the thing is that, Britain can't do it. I mean, I don't care if Nigel Farage thinks that they can. They don't have it anymore. They don't have the navy, the power, the wherewithal.
It's not a colonial power anymore?
No, they're not. They lost that. I mean, he tried to send a destroyer through the Bosphorus to get into the Black Sea, and Turkey said no, and he said, okay, we'll turn around and go back. And then,
Yeah, it's impotent.
yeah, but they're
All empires end badly.
yes, they do. And the thing is whether they take everybody down with them or not, which is what we're going through right now.
You mean us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's happening in France is very interesting because Marine Le Pen may actually win. It's still a long shot, but she's gaining on Macron.
She is. By what I'm seeing, she is gaining. Yep. I would love to see that happen. But
Sure.
we wanted to see that happen in the last election too.
But she lost like 60-40 in the last election. She's within the margin of victory now, or close to it. She's broadened her appeal, which hurt her for a while, but now people seem to have gotten used to it.
Well, they may have broadened her appeal in some respects, but they've also tainted her with, being around Putin.
Oh yeah, she's a Putin puppet.
Yeah, she's a puppet of Putin.
She's explicitly said that she wants better relations with Russia, and she identified herself with Trump. She's a populist.
Whatever and whatever she is, I think she's brave. It's the kind of leader you want.
Exactly.
You don't want these people that are easily pushed over. So,
yep, she's the female version of Charles de Gaulle, and at least that's what she's trying to present herself as.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the last time France was actually independent.
Right. When he took us out of NATO, right?
Yes,
de Gaulle.
exactly. Yep. Yeah, he was. They had some good ones in the '60s, and it's been downhill ever since. But,
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
yeah. All right. So, what else is going on with our friends and allies? Oh, we had regime change in Pakistan.
We talked about that last week on the show,
Oh,
and
did
then
we?
and then it actually happened in the middle of the night.
Yeah, at midnight they had a vote of no confidence. And did you see the crowds that showed up to support?
I did
Imran
not.
Khan?
I saw no imagery at all of it.
Oh, it was huge. There's Islamabad. Every street was full. It looked like
He
hundreds of
seemed
thousands of people.
quite popular.
Yes, he is. They.
That's why you got to get.
That's why they have to get him out. Exactly, and because he's independent.
Well, at least it was a bloodless coup.
Yeah, yeah. The military was behind the scenes, but it wasn't a military coup.
Mhm.
So I guess he has enough cachet that he could get a new election called sooner or later, and probably
Yeah,
take
in a
it back.
parliamentary system, it would be interesting to see whether he could pull that off. It would be much easier in that kind of a system.
Right.
So,
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
but it won't be tomorrow.
No, it won't be. and you know, Bill Gates issued a statement that said he's interested in working with the new government.
Is that
in
right?
Pakistan.
Bill
Yeah.
Gates?
Yeah.
What's he got going there?
I guess he's going to vaccinate everybody
Yeah?
until
Is
they
it vaccination time? Or his meatless food enterprises? Is it
yeah,
that?
that could be.
Yeah.
You know,
Hungry Pakistanis.
you will eat bugs and you will enjoy it.
Yeah, that's right. You won't even know it.
Oh dear. So, and there is so much going on in the world. It's amazing that we live in these times. I mean,
It is amazing to watch.
yes. I hope we can live long enough to see a good resolution come out of all this chaos, but I don't know.
I haven't reformed my thought about where we are in
Yeah.
historical context. We're still on the road to a new world order.
Well, China and Russia likes to call it a fair world order.
Yeah, well, they would. Yeah. I just don't think they're going to have their way. Somehow or another, they're going to pull it off.
Well, Nancy Pelosi is a super spreader.
Yeah, she is. That's something we all knew, I think.
That 12th anniversary party for Obamacare at the White House has turned into a real fiasco. You know, she apparently turned positive for COVID, and then a whole bunch of other people. I didn't notice Adam Schiff's name was in there that he got COVID.
Oh, is that right? I didn't
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah. Couldn't happen to a nicer
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. That was quite a bash.
Yeah. I know that made old Joe look like a doddering old man trying to walk around getting no attention as everybody swarmed around President Obama. But it turned out to be a gift that keeps on giving, as once again they're revealed to be hypocrites and to not follow the rules that they lay down for everybody else. And but there's talk of more mask and vaccine mandates. Philadelphia.
Sorry, did you
has
call
the
the Democrats
mandates.
hypocrites?
Yeah, I did.
You
Was I
flat-
out of line?
Well, I think you flatter them with a description like that.
And we just heard on the news that the FAA, which, you know, walks in lockstep with the CDC, I guess, is going to extend
And the teachers
mask-
union.
And the teachers union is going to extend the mandate on flights. But the CDC is going through a review process of how they handled things the last couple of years. Do you think they'll find out that there were problems?
That'll take care of it.
Yeah. Those internal reviews, they always do well by the people. Now, it's the real losers as far as COVID goes was the Chinese Communist Party. Is socialism with Chinese features got a pretty black eye with its heavy-handed lockdown policy in Shanghai.
Yeah.
You know how many people live there?
26 million.
Yeah, 26 million people. Wow. But they were all screaming at the top of their lungs the other night. It started pretty spontaneously, too, didn't it? A couple of people started screaming, and then...
The way it was described, it started off rather meekly, and then all of a sudden it looked like the entire city had come out. But they're not just restricting their freedom; they're restricting their ability to get food.
Well, I
And
don't
they're
know
taking
if
their-
they're restricting it, but they can't provide it.
And they're taking their cats and dogs away from them.
I think that
It's hideous.
Yeah, they may even be hunting down cats and dogs. or
Probably.
eating them.
I mean,
Yeah.
they eat them.
Yeah. Well, they do eat dogs in China, but they're raised for food. Normally, they don't eat house pets.
That is
but
one wacky culture, I'll tell you.
It's certainly different. Yeah. So anyway, you're right. I mean, they've been under lockdown now for how long? Weeks, and there is a problem with getting them food. And it was extremely weird video, but it doesn't. Again, it's central planning. I mean, it's the reason why we have this is because people that are at the top of the power pyramid are making wrong decisions, which is there's a good chance that they're going to.
Yeah, that's right.
And then everybody falls in line.
They
with
have
it.
to. They have no choice. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody then follows the leader, even though that they're like lemmings going over the cliff. You can't buck the system.
Shanghai screaming.
Yes.
Hideous.
Yeah. So anyway, CNN Plus. The ratings they're getting about 10,000.
It's actually CNN minus.
This is CNN.
So who went over there? Chris Wallace?
Chris Wallace is there. I believe Geraldo will end up there.
Yeah. But he's not if keeps getting 10,000 viewers, mostly in their late 60s.
Well, we'll see. But I mean, who's going to pay for that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
Something went wrong. Please try again.
Is that Siri talking to you? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is that the network has to restructure, rebrand, and they thought that Chris Wallace might help them do that.
Yeah,
but
he's not Tucker Carlson, though.
He's no Tucker Carlson, that's for sure.
We choose truth over facts.
So Tucker is doing well with Fox Nation, and some of the other hosts are popular too, like Tammy Lauren and some of the others. And CNN doesn't.
That Sunday lineup looks better and better all the time. Did you
Yeah.
catch the Sunday afternoon programs?
I don't, unless I get it on YouTube later, which I do sometimes.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't pay money for that.
No, definitely not.
No. And I definitely would not pay money for CNN Plus. They'd have to pay me to watch it.
Right. What's that Glenn Greenwald said? Let's see if I can find it here. I'll find it. Go ahead with what you were going to.
Well, I was just going to talk about how Brian Stelter was made to look like a fool by a college freshman last week.
Mm-hmm. Well, he wasn't the only one.
No.
The editor of The Atlantic was also made a fool of by an 18-year-old. This is what Glenn Greenwald said about the new CNN Plus. Take your credit card out so you can pay to see a lifelong agent of the U.S. security state on CNN's payroll lie to you. Isn't that it?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I would describe them differently, but that's exactly what they are.
The
U.S. security state.
Yeah, there's so many of them now that they used to. In the 70s, there was a scandal when Frank Church came out with his report.
Yeah, right.
And I think it was Bob Woodward that wrote the story.
Is that right?
Before Watergate happened, yeah, about how infiltrated American media is by the CIA and the deep state.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're right up front about it,
Oh, they're quite open about it. Yeah, they're not even hiding it.
No.
But again, the American people aren't paying attention. So
Right. Yeah.
That's why they feel they can disclose it. Is nobody cares. That's where we're at.
Yep, that's where we're at. And I hope that people show up in November and tell them that we really don't care for what they've been doing for the last few years. Well, the biggest scandal in Secret Service history, at least since the last scandal.
Wasn't that something? What the hell is going on there?
We don't really know. The judge decided that they weren't a threat to society and released them, I guess, on bail.
To their own recognizance.
Yeah.
But you know what? Apparently, the FBI found out by accident.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even an investigation. It just was an inadvertence that stumbled into their laps so that they could look at these two guys, and it turns out one of them has a Pakistani origin.
Yes. And who knows if he's connected to anything, substantial in Pakistan or Afghanistan or
Well, I'm
anywhere
thinking
like that.
that he probably does. I mean,
Yeah.
this is how they operate. So, but these people had security access to the First Lady.
Yep. First Lady's Secret Service detail.
Amazing.
Uh-huh.
That can't happen.
But it did.
And it did.
Yes, that's the deep state for you. Once again, they're all powerful, but on the other hand, they're also totally incompetent.
I think Bongino said that that kind of thing was never to have happened after the last time it happened. It's words to that effect.
Well,
measures were taken so that couldn't happen again.
If it wasn't sex workers in Bogota,
That's right.
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what.
And a January 6th insurrectionist, the third person to go to trial, was found not guilty in a bench trial because the videos clearly shows the police let him in.
Opened the door and said,
Yeah.
this is your way in. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know that who's the attorney, the left-wing attorney that gets all the attention on Fox, and he's unwelcomed at CNN now.
An
From
attorney?
Massachusetts. Yeah, why can't I think of his name? Anyway, he's defending one of those January 6 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
there's good intelligent protection to some of these people in there. I think these sentences will be commuted.
yeah. And some of them,
Yeah.
they should.
Before it's all over.
Yeah, I mean, nobody cares again. The January 6th hearings, who cares whether they subpoena somebody to show up?
Right.
Mean
old trespassers.
Yeah. And then remember the movie
Dershowitz. That's who I
Dershowitz.
couldn't think of
Okay.
him. Yeah.
Remember the movie Red Dawn and the
I
Wolverine?
didn't see it, but that was a big film.
Militia.
Yeah, that was a big film.
So the 4 members of the Wolverine militia that went on trial were either found 2 of them not guilty and 2 of them were released after a mistrial. And their lawyers put in their documents, in their brief, that the governor was in no danger. The Wolverine militia just spent a lot of time together enjoying stone talk about taking her out until the feds got involved and tried to make it into a real plot.
They eavesdrop and they find these people, and then they develop a scenario in which they can prosecute them.
Yeah, just to get notches on their resume. They go after these people, American people.
Ugly, really ugly. The FBI cannot be trusted.
No.
Under any circumstance.
No. Well, we know.
Well, a federal judge has denied Hillary Clinton lawyer Michael Sutton's motion to dismiss the Durham case. So the trial begins May 16th.
We go to discovery then.
Are we having fun yet?
What a nice,
Here comes
nice
somebody
guy.
to steal our seats.
Yeah, I'm coming in here. Move.
Was that Tim? Is that Tim over there?
Tim,
Stoffel?
Stoffel.
Yeah.
Good guy. Guess what?
What?
You didn't know this, or maybe you did. He built that.
Yes, I told you that.
Yeah, well, listen. Forget who you're dealing with sometimes?
Twice.
Well, you know what? You could say 3 times and I'd agree. They're up there.
Tim,